Welcome to Transcendental Base of Vedic Knowledge. Today in Glimpse-5, our focus will remain upon Ushmana and Antastha letters of Devanagari alphabet format. Sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to glimpse and imbibe the values of Vedic systems shall initiate themselves with the Devanagari Varanamala. Devanagari Varanamala is the starting point and it is also the end reach value of the Vedic systems. Beginning and end is to remain at the same ment. Therefore, this feature, that beginning we begin and we at the end reach also is at the same point. This takes us to a cyclic format and it that way transits and transforms from the linear format. Let us open a new page and mention that Devanagari Varanamala is the beginning and Devanagari Varanamala is the end reach of the Vedic systems. The entire range of Vedic knowledge which is put in a grammarized scriptures is of the range with the beginning point being Devanagari Varanamala and end reach point as well being the Devanagari Varanamala. Beginning and end are to be at the same ment. It is this feature which be taken as the first feature and it is to be taken that it is of a cyclic format. Therefore, it is the circumference of the circle which is going to be the format of the Vedic systems which have beginning and the end at the same ment, at the same point. Now, at the initial stage, it is the circumference of a circle. However, at the next step, it is going to be the surface area of a sphere. This would mean that the Vedic systems are availing the boundary format. The two space as a domain and one space in the role of a boundary. A step ahead, three space is the domain and two space surface area is the boundary. Therefore, it is of the reach a raised to power 2 is to 4 a raised to power 1. Step ahead, it is a raised to power 3 is to 6 a square. This way, this sequential linear sequencing is going to be of a 7 steps. But at the 8th step, again there is going to be transition and transformation. And it is this reach of the first 7 steps which are linear sequential progression, but at the 8th step the value of 8 is equal to 2 raised to power 3 again takes us to a transition that instead of a linear progression there happens to be a spatial progression. This way the Vedic systems organization format unfolds from within, but this unfolding from within though is to be taken in a sequential progression of 7 steps, and at the 8th step again there is going to be a transition and transformation from the linear progression order to a spatial progression order. One shall sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind to be face to face with this organization format features of the Vedic systems. It is this feature which be taken as the basic feature. It is this basic feature which essentially takes us up till 7 steps in a linear progression, and at the 8th step there happens to be a transition and transformation from a linear progression to a spatial progression. Now, in this background, let us revisit Devanagari Varanmala. Devanagari Varanmala as it is organized as 5 sets, 5 groups. The letters of Devanagari Varanmala are organized as 5 groups of letters. These 5 groups of letters as such deserve to be approached group wise. The first group is of vowels. There are 9 vowels. These vowels have their placement, sequential placement as of values range 1 to 9. These placement values in the organization feature of 9 vowels as such takes us to the values range 1 to 9. As such, when we will be reaching at the values, formats, working steps of the Vedic mathematics, sciences and technologies, then very easily we will be shifting from the vowels to the values range 1 to 9. Therefore, group 1 is a set of 9 letters. These 9 letters are designated vowels. So, vowels group of 9 letters takes us to the values range 1 to 9. It is this values range 1 to 9 which simultaneously takes us to, as 1 takes us to 1 space, and along with 1 space we take 1 space content. Then this content manifests as a domain fold, and this domain fold takes different roles as dimension, boundary, domain means domain within a domain, origin, and even it goes a step ahead to a base fold. Then ahead there is a format, then there is a unity state, thereafter it is going to be a natural order, and ultimately the 9th stage is the Brahman domain. These 9 vowels group, the first group of Devanagari Varanmala is a set of 9 letters. These 9 letters are 9 vowels. This is a vowels group of the letters of Devanagari alphabet. These 9 vowels of Devanagari Varanmala take us to values range 1 to 9. Once we reach the values range, then from here we reach from these values the corresponding geometric formats. One space, value 1 takes us to the geometric format of a 1 space. Once we are at 1 space, then we are at 1 space content. Once we are at 1 space content, then we are its manifestation as a domain which gives us a length for the 1 space bodies. From this manifested state, then we have its different 9 roles. These are the 9 roles for the manifested space content. Therefore, let us mention specifically by drawing a table as that 1 space takes us to 1 space content. 1 space content manifests as a domain of 1 space body which gives us length. Now this manifested state of 1 space content as it is, which is providing us a length as a measure. Now that length is in a domain fold has its 9 distinct roles. These 9 distinct roles are: number 1, a domain fold. So the first role is as a domain fold. The second role is starting from domain fold, playing as dimension. Now this dimension as such be taken as the first role. Manifested space content becomes a domain form. This domain form plays the roles. The first role played is as a dimension. The second role is as a boundary. Third fold is as a domain. So it is a domain within a domain. The fourth role is as a origin. The fifth role is as a base of origin. Sixth fold is a format. It is format of the base of the origin. Seventh space is a unity state. It is a unity state of the format of the base of the origin. Then becomes a natural order. And this natural order ultimately takes us to ninth role, which is called a Brahman values. Therefore, each space as a space content in a manifested form plays 9 roles. These 9 roles are dimension, boundary, domain, origin, base, format, unity state, natural order, and Brahman values. Now see, we are having first group of 9 letters of vowels. These vowels takes us to the values 1 to 9. These 9 values take us to the corresponding geometric formats of 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 5 space, 6 space, 7 space, 8 space, and 9 space. We have seen that each space content in a manifested form is playing 9 roles. As such, this format of the vowels will be taking us to 9 cross 9, means there is going to be the 80 values spectrum. It is this 80 values spectrum which is basically lively at the geometric formats parallel to this 9 values range. Now value 81 we know is equal to 3 raised to power 4. It is this feature which takes us to that when we are within a creator's space, means when we are within 4 space, and 4 space itself we know is of a spatial order, means there are 4 spatial dimensions. However, the origin of 4 space is a transcendental origin, means 5 space is playing the role of origin of 4 space, and 5 space itself is of a solid order. Therefore, this point, the origin, transcendental origin, seat of the 4 space of the creator's space is a seat where there is lively a solid order. This solid order transcends and it gets superimposed upon the spatial order. It is this transcendence of the solid order from the transcendental seat of origin of the creator's space which will have a superimposition upon the quadruple spatial dimensions. Upon each spatial dimension there happens to be a superimposition of a solid order. Therefore, the initial spatial order dimensional frame, which is of value 2 raised to power 4, has a superimposition of a solid order which is of value 3 raised to power 4, and therefore this superimposed state comes to be 16 plus 81 is equal to 97. We know that 97 is the biggest prime up till 100. Further, we know that 97 is the synthesis value of a pair of transcendence ranges of order 7. 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 is the transcendence range with 7 space playing the role of a dimension. Therefore, the pair of such dimensions 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 with 7 as the dimensional glue synthesis value. This will take us to a value 45. Here is value 45 and 7. It gives a value 97. One shall sit comfortably. One shall revisit these features of the first group of vowels. There are 9 vowels. This group of 9 letters of Devanagari alphabet takes us to the values range 1 to 9. This values range takes us to 1 space to 9 space. Now each space takes us to a space content. Space content in a manifested form takes us to 9 distinct roles. These 9 distinct roles are as dimension fold, boundary fold, origin fold, domain fold, origin fold, base fold, format fold, unity state, natural order and Brahman values. That way 9 roles for each of the 9 space contents gives us a spectrum of value 81. Value 81 is of organization 3 raised to power 4. It is parallel to the superimposition of a solid order on a dimensional frame of quadruple spatial dimensions. It is this superimposition of the solid order upon the spatial order which is going to be the basic attainment of this format. This attainment becomes a value 16 plus 81 is equal to 97. We know 97 is the biggest prime up till 100. Now further we know that 97 is the synthesis value of a pair of transcendence ranges of order 7. Now it is this feature together with this prime value together with the phenomenon of superimposition of transcendence from the transcendental origin of the solid order upon the spatial order of the creator space which deserves to be comprehended well. We shall sit comfortably and to glimpse and imbibe these values and features of group 1. Group 2 of Devanagari Varnamala is a group of 25 letters. These 25 letters are 5 cross 5 vargas. These varga consonants are of 5 rows and 5 columns. This organization format feature of 5 rows and 5 columns makes a grid for us. It is this grid of 5 cross 5 which is giving us a grid zones. These grid zones, as these are, will be having their centers. Therefore, these are giving us a format of a spatial order, and at the center there would be a seat. Therefore, 2 space is having 3 space in the role of an origin. Now 3 space in the role of origin of 2 space gives us a format for transcendence from the origin and upon the order of the domain. Therefore 2 space as the dimensional order of 4 space and 3 space as the dimensional order of 5 space that way brings in, imports this particular structure within each of the grid zones. It is this structure of the grid zones which will help us appreciate as to how the transcendence phenomenon of a solid order getting superimposed upon the spatial order. It is this phenomenon of superimposition of the higher dimensional order upon the lower dimensional order, which is a feature which deserves to be comprehended well with respect to the format, features and values of Devanagari Varanmala format. 5x5 Varga consonants as 5x5 grid provides us 16 grid zones. These 16 grid zones are having their centers as a seat of the origins of two space. Therefore, at the origins, at the centers of the 16 grid zones of 5x5 Varga consonants, there is a solid order placement seat. Now, this solid order we know is the order of a transcendental domain, a 5 space. Therefore, 5 space in the role of an origin of creator's space, 4 space, that way gives us a transcendence phenomenon. There happens to be a transcendence of a solid order from the origin seat of the creator's space. Therefore, this transcendence of the solid order and its superimposition upon the spatial order of the creator's space is the phenomenon which is being chased in terms of the Devanagari Varanmala. Vedic systems are availing the transcendence phenomenon. This transcendence phenomenon is the phenomenon of the superimposition of a solid order of 5 space upon the spatial order of a 4 space. Therefore, this feature, this phenomenon, this format, this happening is the happening which is being worked out in terms of the Ushmana letters. Ushmana letters are quadruple in number, and Anthastha letters as well are quadruple, and the ahead, the fifth group, is a group of 8 Yama letters. This makes us 4 plus 4 plus 8 is equal to 16 letters. These 16 letters format in respect of the transcendence phenomenon deserve to be comprehended in terms of the 16 grid zones of 5x5 grid of 5x5 Varga consonants. These 16 grid zones of 5x5 grid of 5x5 Varga consonants as such provide us the format for the remaining 16 letters of Devanagari Varanamala, of 4 of them being 4 Anthastha letters, then 4 Ushmana letters, and then 8 Yama letters. Therefore, these 3 groups of 4 Anthastha letters, 4 Ushmana letters, and 8 Yama letters are to be faced, are to be chased, are to be imbibed by having a focus upon the centers of the grid zones. There are 16 grid zones of 5x5 grid of 5x5 Varga consonants. these 16 grid zones are having their centers. Now, the grid zones being of is spatial format, therefore their centers are of the format of the solid origins of two space. Therefore, at the center of each grid zone, there is a 3 space in the role of an origin. Now, 3 space is playing the role of dimensional order of a 5 space. 2 space is playing the role of dimensional order of 4 space. Therefore, at the centers of the grid zones, there happens a transcendence phenomenon. In terms of this transcendence phenomenon, there happens to be a transcendence of a solid order, which gets superimposed upon the spatial order. It is this feature, it is this value which deserves to be chased. Today we are having a focus upon the Anthastha letters and Ushmana letters. Of these 8 letters, first we are taking up the quadruple Ushmana letters. Let us take these quadruple Ushmana letters one by one. The first Ushmana letter is of TCV value 2. This TC value 2 takes us to 2 space. This 2 space takes us to a 2 space content. This 2 space content takes us to a role as a dimension 4. Therefore, it creates a spatial order. Spatial order would mean 2 space in the role of dimension having a creation of a 4 space. Therefore, the first Ushmana letter Sha is of TC value 2. This value takes us to geometric format of a 2 space. The 2 space takes us to 2 space content, and 2 space content takes us to the spatial order. Now, this spatial ordered format for transcendence from the origin. Now, one may have a pause here. Firstly, we are having, say, 3 space as origin of a 2 space. But we know 3 space itself is having its origin, which is a 4 space, and this 4 space is of a spatial order. Therefore, to have a proper appreciation of the transcendence phenomenon, we have to revisit the first Ushmana letter, which is of TC value 2, which makes 2 space, leads to 2 space content. This 2 space content plays the role of 2 space as a dimension, and this creates 4 space. Therefore, 2 space ultimately has 2 space content in the role of a spatial order is having a creation of a 4 space. Therefore, at 4 space, we are having 5 space as an origin. 5 space is of a solid order. Therefore, the transcendence for and along the spatial order is going to be upon the solid format. Now, this transcendence of a 2 space in fact is going to be a transcendence from the origin of a 3 space. 2 space, first letter Ushmana letter of TC value 2 as 2 space content, as 2 space content giving a spatial order, and this spatial order is the order of 4 space playing the role of an origin of a 3 space. Therefore, this transcendence from the origin of a 3 space will take us to, so we are having a 3 space. That means we are having a cube. This 3 space is having 4 space in the role of an origin. This 4 space is of a spatial order. Now this spatial order, when has a transcendence, this transcendence will be there within a 3 space domain. However, we know 3 space domain is having a spatial boundary. Therefore, this transcendence of spatial order from the origin of a 3 space, when will be transcending within 3 space domain, means a volume which is of a linear order. That means this 2 space, a spatial order, will transcendence within 3 space domain will amount to a superimposition of a linear order. Therefore, it amounts to a superimposition upon linear order of a spatial order. It is this phenomenon, it is this feature, it is this value which deserves to be comprehended well with respect to the transcendence phenomenon, transcendence format of the first Ushmana letter. In a sequential, we will be reaching at the second Ushmana letter. The second Ushmana letter is of TCV value 3. Now, this TC value 3 will be taking us to a 3 space format. 3 space format will be leading us to 3 space content. This 3 space content will be manifesting as a 3 space domain, means as a volume. Now 3 space domain will be in the role of a dimension, will be creating a solid order. So 3 space in the role of a dimension will be available. Now 3 space in the role of a dimension would mean when this 3 space will transcend, it will transcend within a 4 space, as 3 space is a solid order of 5 space. 5 space is playing the role of the origin of a 4 space. 4 space is of a spatial order. Therefore, the transcendence of a solid order from the seat of 5 space as origin of 4 space will get superimposed, upon the spatial order of the 4 space. Further, we know that 4 space is enveloped within a solid boundary. Therefore, 3 space as 3 space order of a 5 space transcending from the transcendental origin, 5 space origin of a 4 space will be transcending and will get superimposed upon the spatial order of a 4 space. Now this transcendence phenomenon from the origin of a 4 space will be within a 4 space domain. Now this transcendence phenomenon of a solid order within 4 space will amount to superimposition of a solid order upon a spatial order. Now this superimposition of a solid order upon a spatial order as such will be a transcendence upward within the 4 space, but it will be up till the limit of the 4 space as a domain, and 4 space domain being enveloped within a solid boundary. Therefore, that would be the antastha. Let us have a pause. We started with the first Ushmana letter Sha. This Ushmana letter Sha is of TCV value 2. This TC value 2 takes us to 2 space format. 2 space format takes us to 2 space content. 2 space content manifests as 2 space domain, as giving us an area. Now this two-space domain in its role as a dimension will be taking us to 4 space. So 2 space as dimension creates 4 space. Therefore, this 4 space, when is in the role of an origin of a 3 space, then from the origin of 3 space there will be a transcendence of a spatial order. This 2 space as spatial order transcending from the origin of 3 space will be a transcendence phenomenon within 3 space domain, within a volume of a cube. Now this transcendence phenomenon of a spatial order within 3 space domain will amount to superimposition upon the linear order of a 3 space. So as a result, the 2 space will get superimposed upon 1 space. Now this superimposed state being of value 1 plus 2, 3, this value will take us up till the limit of the 3 space domain. We know the limit of 3 space domain is as it is enveloped within a spatial boundary. Therefore, this transcendence phenomenon with the 2 space as spatial order transcending from the origin of 3 space and this transcendence within 3 space domain amount to a superimposition of spatial order upon a linear order, and this superimposition will have an exhaustive coverage of the 3 space domain. It is this exhaustive coverage of 3 space domain means that its reach is going to be up till the spatial boundary, of a 3 space. It is this reach up till the spatial boundary of a 2 space, a step ahead will take us to the boundary of this boundary, means linear boundary of a 2 space. This superimposition phenomenon of a spatial order upon a linear order within 3 space domain will have an exhaustive coverage of the 3 space domain, and it will have a reach up till the spatial boundary, which itself is enveloped within a linear boundary. Therefore, this phenomenon of a superimposition of spatial order upon the linear order having an exhaustive coverage of a 3 space domain will be having an end reach at the spatial boundary, which itself is enveloped within a linear boundary. Now this linear boundary means a value 1. It is this reach at value 1 is equal to the value of the first anthastha letter. Let us sit comfortably and let us revisit these features of superimposition of a spatial order upon the linear order having an exhaustive coverage of a 3 space domain with a limit as 3 space domain being enveloped within a spatial boundary, and spatial boundary itself is enveloped within the linear boundary. Now this linear boundary gives us value 1. It is equal to the TCB value of the first anthastha letter Ya. One shall have a complete reach of this transcendence phenomenon of the first Ushmana letter by having a reach up till the first anthastha letter. The success of comprehension, the index of the insight, the reach of the enlightenment of this transcendence phenomenon of the format of the first Ushmana letter as such is going to be the reach at the first anthastha letter. One shall sit comfortably permit the transcending mind to be face to face with this transcendence phenomenon of the format of the first Ushmana letter Sha of TC value 2, which with its transcendence from the origin of a 3 space and having a superimposition upon the linear order of a 3 space, having an end reach up till the 3 space domain, which is enveloped within a spatial boundary, which itself is enveloped within a boundary, linear boundary of 2 space as a boundary, of a 3 space as a domain, with 4 space as an origin, being of a spatial order. All these steps deserve to be sequentially and very gently to be chased. One shall begin with the script form of a first Ushmana letter. Then one shall reach at the TCV value of the first Ushmana letter Sha as 2. Then one shall reach at 2 space as a format parallel to 2 space 2 as a value. From 2 space format one shall reach at 2 space content. Then one shall reach at 2 space content manifesting as 2 space domain. Then one shall reach at 2 space domain in the role of a spatial order. Now this spatial order is of the creator's space. Creator's space is playing the role of an origin of a 3 space. As such, the transcendence takes place at the origin of a 3 space and it gets superimposed upon the linear order of the 3 space domain. It is with this superimposition that there happens to be an exhaustive coverage of a 3 space domain. With this exhaustive coverage of a 3 space domain, there is a reach up till the spatial boundary. Now spatial boundary itself is enveloped by the linear boundary. It is here where is the reach of a value 1. This value 1 is the TC value of the first Anthastha letter. So a reach from the transcendence phenomenon along the format of first Ushmana letter being having an end reach up till the TCV value and as such of the first Anthastha letter itself. A step ahead, the second Ushmana letter will be taking us to the second Anthastha letter. The third Ushmana letter transcendence format will be taking up till the third Anthastha letter. The fourth Ushmana letter shall be taking us up till the fourth Anthastha letter. It is this relationship, it is this coordination, it is this organization, it is this formatting of the transcendence processing steps from the origin within the domain up till the end reach of a domain and the end reach as its boundary within its own boundary are the steps which are the processing steps. These processing steps of the transcendence phenomenon along the formats of the Ushmana letters having end reach up till the boundary of the corresponding domains. So up till the Anthastha letters, it is this coordination, it is this feature, it is this value, it is this format which deserves to be comprehended well. It is only by having this comprehension, it is only by face to face with these features, it is only by having this insight, it is by having only by this attainment of the enlightenment of the transcendence phenomenon along the formats of the Ushmana letters and having an end reach up till the format, features and values of the Anthastha letters, which deserves to be comprehended well, to be face to face with the processing steps of the Vedic systems and to be parallel to the attainments as per the processing steps of the Vedic systems. With these interrelationship and these coordinated organization formats of the Ushmana letters and Anthasta letters within the grid zones, within the 16 grid zones of 5 cross 5 Varga consonants and 5 cross 5 Varga consonants, as such taking us to the range of the 9 vowels. These 4 groups of the letters Swaras, Varga consonants, Anthasta and Ushmana letters, ultimately 4 together with their synthetic format, will be taking us to the 5th group, which is the Yama letters group. In the next lesson, in the next session, we shall be taking up this reach up till the format, features and values of the 5th group of 8 Yama letters of Devanagari Varanmala. Thank you very much.